about love, the good and tough. Through all the ups and downs, we're strong enough. The marriage is work, but it's worth the fight. Let's dive into our life, shining love's lights. Two hearts, one road, walking side by side, highs and lows. Got nothing to hide, love's a journey. So we state the facts, making this eternity. Let's talk about love, the good and tough. Through all the ups and downs, we're strong enough. The marriage is work, but it's worth the fight. Let's dive into my life, shining love's lights.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming to hang out with us this evening.
Hello, everyone.
Hey guys, I'm Eric Green.
And I am Kathy Green, his better half.
I was just really hoping you didn't say I was your...
Pain in the ass.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Wasn't
Wasn't supposed to say the last part of it.
Okay, we're going to have to slap a beep in there. But thank you for hanging out with us. It's a beautiful evening, morning, afternoon in Georgetown, South Carolina.
Woo-hoo!
And we have some special guests with us tonight. We were trying to work on this since February 14th, and God finally made a way for us to make it happen. We got a special guest for y'all today. Thank you so much, the guests, for coming out. But before we begin, we want to share something with you right quick. Like, me and Kathy did a thing. We recently did a thing. And what was that thing that we did, baby?
It's called, what are you talking about? From Pain to Purpose. From Pain to Purpose. We have published our first book, From Pain to Purpose, and we are really excited. We launch on Valentine's Day.
On Valentine's Day.
And you guys have shown us so much love.
Thank you.
The orders have been coming in. I shipped all the books, so you guys should have received it by now. If not, it's on its way. But we appreciate you guys. Grab a copy, even if you don't want it. Grab one for your friends. Grab it for your neighbors. Grab it for your enemies. Grab it for anybody.
Just grab the book.
Just grab the book. For whoever's going through From Pain to Purpose. It's on our website, greenhouselove.com. As well, if you want the ebook, it's on Amazon, From Pain to Purpose. Go check it out.
Thank you so much for supporting too. Remember, this is not about us gaining financial gain. This is about us pouring back into marriages, pouring into lives, pouring into relationship that can hopefully one day change their perception on what it should be to be married. It's not a contract. It's an actual agreement between you, God, and the spouse that you chose. So thank you anyhow. So now let's bring in our guests this evening. Thank you.
Excited.
Yes. We have none other than our brother and sister, Mr. Tim and his beautiful wife, Denise Chatman, this afternoon to come and hang out with us. Now, guys, we thank y'all so much for wanting to be a part of this and participating. We know that your history and your marriage has its ups and downs, its good and its bad, its loving and its kindness, everything that comes with the ingredients of marriage. And all we want to do is just share with our audience exactly some of the things that we go through as a couple, right? To make us become a good marriage, a successful marriage. Because we know people can be together for 20, 40 years and not have a good marriage, just have a miserable dwelling, co-partners. But it's a beautiful thing when we get to see God's work being worked through two people to make it what God intended it to originally be. Yes. So let's just jump into it.
Yeah, but before we say that, I have to say, this is my first time meeting you in person.
Right.
But you've always commented on our posts.
Yeah.
Like our posts. I remember the first time I said, babes, who is Denise? And he always told me about you. So it's finally good to meet you in person as well.
And I know excited. I know Tim through her posting of how good he is as a gardener.
Oh, okay.
Right? That's when I started gardening. I was like, yo, that man doing the right thing. I'm going to start my own garden.
I thank you. You've been doing it.
I'm trying anyhow.
Yeah.
My collards look dead, but I mean, in the beginning they look strong. I just got to learn how to maintain the strength of it. But we'll talk about that as a sidebar. All right. Well, guys, like I said, thank y'all so much for coming to hang out with us and participate with us. Now I'm going to jump right into it. Let's go back to when you guys first met.
Yeah.
Right? When you first met. Like, was it here in Georgetown? How did it unfold? Who started the situation, whatever? Tell us about that quickly.
I'm gonna let him start. He's probably gonna talk about how I ignored him when he would walk me home from band practice. So I'll let him tell him.
Okay.
Well, we're about a year apart in school.
Okay.
They were just behind me. I also have a little brother that's her classmate. But one time we actually lived on the same street, Wynyard Street now, but we called it Taylor Street. And Denise them was in a house maybe 2 doors down from where we live. And seventh grade,
No,
eighth grade for
eighth
me,
grade.
seventh grade for you. We were in the band, and we would have to walk home late in the evening from practice. Well, because she lived beyond my house, I would always walk her part the way to make sure she got in the house. That was just the way we were brought up to do that.
Right.
And she forgot that I ever did that for her.
I don't remember.
and when I left and went in the Air Force, and I was somewhere out in the world. I was in Utah, and I actually thought Utah was somewhere overseas. But, it was during one of those times where, God, Tim, did you make a mistake joining this service all by yourself?
Right.
And I got a letter in the mail, and it was a picture that she sent me. She was still in school. And she sent me a picture, and she don't know. That letter and that picture did so much for me then. So I always had her in my heart.
Yeah, so she hit on you first.
And it wasn't until I got back home, and I didn't know who was here when I came back home 5.5 years later. And I was heading to church one morning, but I wanted to go get some gas. So I went to the gas station, and who did I see pull up in the car next? It was her. I didn't even know she was here. And I remember talking to her and saying to her, look, if you don't mind, could I give you a call sometime? And that's where we connected.
Oh, dude, that's a real cool story, man. That is so, Denise, now, did you send the picture knowing you was trying to captivate him, or you just out of friendliness?
I guess it's what I do now. I just knew that he was away, and I knew him, and I just wanted to send him a letter just to sort of lift his spirit. I didn't mean anything by the letter. It wasn't like a I love you letter.
Right. Okay.
Anything like that.
So the picture didn't say like I'm interested or anything like that. Okay.
We never shared any interest. Like we would be interested in each other. So.
Yeah, that's kind of suspect though, man. Mm-hmm. That's suspect, Kathy. Mm-hmm. If you send me a picture, I'm going, oh, she on to me. She is.
But when he did come back and we exchanged numbers, I was waiting for him to call. He never did call me. So, you know what they call G Avenue checkerboard alley.
Yeah.
So I knew that's what the guys said. I'm going to ride through this alley and see if I can find him.
But not calling you. I'm with you. Waste my time.
So I drove through the alley and I rolled the window down and I said, hey, I'm waiting on my call. And then it just went from there. Yeah.
Oh, the boldness, boy. What?
I love it.
That is a good story.
And how long have you guys been married?
May will be 44 years.
I'm glad. I like how you looked at him. The answer. When people ask me, I always look at Eric just to make sure he knows.
I got my number in my phone. I ain't playing them games. So do you guys have kids?
We do. We have two girls.
Two girls.
One granddaughter.
Oh, okay, great. Yes. So how was that? Wait, when did y'all get married?
We got married 23. I was 23.
You was 20. Yeah.
You was 24.
23, 24. Okay, so young marriage, right?
Yeah.
And you had 2 kids, right? How was it raising kids in a young marriage?
We did good.
Yeah.
I think we just 2 old souls.
And it didn't take us long to realize that, okay, it's time to grow up.
Yeah.
Right.
So things, young people did at that age. And with me, being in the military, I had traveled the world. And I had done a lot of things.
Right.
So I guess that I didn't feel like I was going to miss anything.
Yeah.
I had done so much more than the average guy here in Georgetown.
Right.
And they would come around, we're going here, and we got this big party, and we got this big dance. And that did not appeal to me anymore. I had already experienced big dances and concerts and stuff. Yeah. So it wasn't hard for me to come on in. And plus, your dad and my dad, we had these men in our families. And you could watch their example and you realize that, okay, if we're going to do it the way they're doing it,
Right.
time to come on.
Right. Right.
And,
Right.
and,
Right.
and my brother, I've got an older brother too, and I remember my daddy had the conversation with him, with his boys. He said, "Come on, son, you're a legend. Your sons are never gonna do the things you come on in," because he was still out there, and I would listen to that. I said, "You know, Daddy is right. You got to give the next generation a chance."
Right.
So
Right.
it wasn't that hard. We still had those old world standards
Right.
to go by.
Right.
We had our people were still with us, my mom and dad, and we didn't have any grandparents still here, but
Right.
you know, we had Big Mama was here.
You're gonna sit them on the porch, you know, send them to the house, right?
Those built-in babysitters, you know.
And I think even though getting married at a young age, and for me, what I remember when we realized it was time to come in, because when we first got married, we still liked to go, we still liked to hang out,
Right.
But I remember us coming in one morning, and it was daylight after coming in from a party, and it was daylight. And you know, we would leave the kids over to my mom, and when I came in that particular one, I was like, "No, this
is not good.
Yeah, this is not good." It had to stop. I knew I wanted to be a good mom. I knew I wanted to be a good role model for my girls.
Yeah.
And so that's when we started decided, hey, it's time to be parents.
Bring it in.
Even though we were still probably about 25, 26. But it was time to be a parent. Be parents.
And that's hard to do when you're young, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was 25, at that age in my first marriage, like I didn't have the discipline. So it calls for discipline. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, you may want to do the thing, but it calls for you to discipline the thing you're doing or want to do. You can have the great thought to be a good father, but if you don't apply being a good father, you're just a thought. Right? And I remember for the first time having to, raise a boy child, as the primary parent. I remember saying to myself, "Whoa, I didn't expect this." You know what I mean? I wasn't prepared for this.
Right.
But you have to do what you have to do.
And I like that you say discipline too, right? Because we've talked to a lot of young people, young couples as well, and they tend to struggle with being a spouse, that parent, and still want to
hang out,
parties and hang out and stuff. And it's a balance, right? You have to know, okay, enough of that. And I like that you said that. I've been there. I did that already, and it was time for me to now focus on my marriage, our children, our relationship, and building that foundation. And I think that's important.
I'll tell young men in a minute, if you're married, you don't need to be hanging out with single guys, right? Because there lies the temptation. You know, they're meeting women, they're doing what they would do. Now you feel kind of intimidated or obligated, right? Or tempted to be a part of that conversation when you know you got a whole wife over here.
Right.
So you got to be mindful. I remember somebody telling me that when I was younger, it didn't register right away. But as time goes on and you become a lot more wiser in your ways, you realize, because for me right now, I don't want to go nowhere without this woman right here.
Because I can't sleep at night.
Even after we had an argument.
Yes.
You want to go out?
You want to go out? And I'm like, Patty, no, leave me alone. And then if he wouldn't go and we end up making up, that's a long story.
So now after 40 years of marriage, 40 plus years of marriage, you become selfish in a way, self-centered in a way, or you become standoffish in a way. You ostracize sometimes. But true marriages always find a way to go to the next dimension. Like, okay, we've outgrown this dimension. Let's go together to the next dimension instead of one growing and the other not, right? How do y'all manage to make sure y'all are meshing that, like you're always growing together or giving each other grace to grow, in time?
Now, that is important. And I realized early on that we were not opposites. Folks would say, well, opposite attract. And, being a man of God, also, I realized, well, why would God put me with an opposite? Or put a woman,
Good point.
a woman that wants a good man, but she's going after a man that's going to beat her. That doesn't make sense. It makes no sense. So I realized we were not opposites. We were just alike.
Okay.
There's some things I like, and there's also things she liked. And I remember when she first was talking about going back to school.
Mm-hmm.
And she was in the school system, working at the high school. And she felt like folks were putting her down because she was just the secretary.
Okay.
But these teachers were certified teachers.
Education, right.
And she said, well, I'm going to go back to school. I said, well, go on back to school. You know how long it'll take me to get my degree? And I said, well, how long would it take if you don't go back to school? So she buckled up and, she said, well, you always got to be smart. So, but she thought about it.
Right.
And she went back to school, and we sacrificed.
Mm-hmm.
But that was to make her a better person, which was going to make us a better person.
Right.
And we just, in the same with me, with my garden. You imagine the time I put into growing gardens and helping people do a garden. But she realized that was something that I loved to do.
Right.
And so she would always, I'd be doing something before I know I've got this neat little flyer.
Oh, nice.
So
Nice.
that was we've always complimented each other, and whatever she's got going on, I might grumble. I don't have time for that.
Same here.
But I'll be right there. If she needs me, I'll be there.
Same here. Yeah, yes, sir. I'll go in that room.
And I always know when he's because he makes this face. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Nothing, Cat.
But I'm right there.
Yeah.
Because the Bible says iron sharpens iron.
That's right.
We can only become sharpened together, or we become dull one apart, right? Yeah, that's I love that. I think that's a very enriching thing to pour back into the young folks. It's not about just you. Yeah. You have to support the very person you married, like the person you married has to support you. That's what makes you better, much stronger, become oneness, because that's the whole objective, I think, in God's eyes or perspective, is to make us understand, like you said, we're not opposite of attraction. We are one likeness of God.
Yes.
And if we're all on one accord, we will get to where God wants us to be in destiny, right? We will reach it. But if you're going this way and I'm going this way, then the kid's going this way and the kid's going this way. We believe in unity. That's how we did.
Yeah.
And me and my wife, we have literally no kids together. She has her 3, I have my 3. But you can never tell.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we brought them together in unison. That whatever she's doing, I'm doing. Whatever I'm doing, she's doing. Yeah. You ain't going to be able to pull us from one side to the next side. You know what I mean?
And it's funny that people say, my last child looked like you.
And my child looked like you.
Look like you.
Yeah.
I guess
and we run with it. I'm like, it's about time. I was in labor 19 hours with her.
You feed them, they'll start to look like
you. Yeah, they will. They will.
They will start to look like you. So a lot of marriages, trust me, a lot of marriages goes through ups and downs and issues, right? We know this to be true. They don't know how to deal or handle with conflicts. How do y'all manage, or how have you been able to manage all these years with your conflicts? You know what I mean? Because we be real with each other, transparent. We all got conflicts in a marriage, So how do y'all work through it?
And I would just say, I don't like the way he handles conflict, but I've learned to accept it, and now I can handle it more. I'm the type, I want to have a conversation. I want to talk about it. If it leads to an argument, I don't care. That's what I want to do.
Right.
He's the gentle, kind person. He thinks that, well, if I just be quiet and don't say anything, it'll all just blow over.
Right.
And so to me, sometimes for me, that causes more conflict.
Right.
Because I want to talk. I want to talk about it. I do. But he will never go to that level with me. But after I sort of cool down, and then I'll say, you did this or you did that, and then we'll talk, and then he'll say, "I'm sorry." But we've gone through a lot of years of me just pouting because I wanna talk about it. But we do resolve the conflict. It's just not the way that I want to do
That you
it.
want to do it.
Yeah, and that still goes on even now because this is my person. This is my person. Somebody does something to him, I want to fight, and I get mad again at him. I was like, you're not gonna say, you're not gonna say anything. I want you to go out. I want to fight for you. But
you were pointing to me.
That's too funny because you just like her.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to do anything that's going to upset him.
Yeah.
And he won't do it. I say he won't do anything, but he does. He pray about it.
Right.
And he just, try to stay strong. But we still go to that even now. But at the end, we're able to talk about it.
Right. Good.
Have everything always been perfect? No. There have been times when we just...
Right.
But at the end, we know that we need each other.
Absolutely.
I like that. We need each other.
We need each other.
Yeah. What's your perspective, Timmy?
Well, like she said, I've always been the peacekeeper in the family, and even with the girls, they know mama's gonna give them a discussion.
Man, are we married couples? The world.
Whatever.
But they'll talk to daddy and say, "Mama, why can't you be like daddy?"
Oh my God! What? It's the same thing. It's the same.
That's why we balance each other out, right?
Yes.
Oh goodness!
But when they do come with that kind of quarrels and trying to get somebody's point of view over the next one, it ends up me and her saying the same thing. Right.
Right.
We're on the same page, and they get mad because they know they can't separate.
Right. That's good parenting.
Yeah.
Then we're doing okay, Kat, because that's good parenting. What you're not going to do is get me to side with you and not side with my wife.
That's right.
I'm here because I'm like you. I'm the one that they can come to and reason. I'm going to give you reasons from God's perspective.
Yeah.
And I'm going to calm your situation down. Mama? What? Wow. Who? What?
Yeah.
Where? We did? Who did it? Why? Who? Yeah. And then she's Trini, so the accent come out. Oh my goodness! I leave the room because I don't understand her words.
It is not that bad.
It is that deep.
It's not that bad.
It's that deep. But men were called to be conflict resolutioners, right? We find a resolution. I mean, I don't know if that word is appropriate, but resolutions we find.
Yeah.
Because a man can walk in the house and things can be out of order, and he can call them into order. Because the children will listen to mom, but sometimes they'll challenge mom. Yeah. But when dad walks in the room, everything comes to order.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why, as men, we should always have the mindset to be sensitive. Because we could be aggressive. Yeah. We know we can go there. But they want something from their father that's going to always make them feel like he's a father. Right? Not a dictator, not a punisher, not a blamer, but someone they can come to and rest their head on the chest of, right? That's how I've always been. I feel that way. Like my kids come to me first if it's something, detrimental, because they know mommy gonna yell, not out of, any mean, malice attitude. No. It's just her aggressing because she don't want nobody messing with her child, right? So they come to me first, but at the same time, they know when to come to her too, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, he's the calm one. I'm the, storm. Yes. It works well.
Yeah,
it works well.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about love language, right? Love language, because young marriages, and even some good old marriages, I'm not going to say seasoned marriage, I'm just saying the good older marriages, they don't understand their love language. Like, I know what makes Kathy happy. Yeah. I know her language. So I try my best to apply
what's her language?
So flowers is not her language. She don't like flowers. Kathy don't like intimacy as much as I do, right? But when it comes to her passion for business, I know how to be there to support her in that passion. Right. That's a language of hers that make her feel good. And then while she's working and I'm hugging her, I know it's on tonight. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's her language, right? Yeah. But I can't go outside of those realms because she's not going to appreciate it. That's what I mean by your love language. Like, what are your love language towards each other? Do you know your love language? Because you can't get 40 years without knowing each other's language.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, with Denise, it's almost the same. Denise is a very creative person, and I just love that about her. Even when she'll say, I just did this last week, and here these people go copying what I did. And I always tell them, well, if you're going to imitate something, why would you imitate something bad?
Right.
But you
Absolutely.
were the first to do it,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
you know, you're the trailblazer.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
But I love that about her. And as long as I give her that space to be creative,
Mm-hmm.
and she works hard. I mean, work
Right.
herself to a frazzle sometimes. And I got to deal with her snoring at night because her mind is working. But when the event is done and it comes off without a hitch and everything is perfect, then she is content.
Yeah.
And then like you, oh, it's going to be hard.
Hey.
But and baking is her thing. If she wants to get in that kitchen, and I don't eat a lot of sweets like that. Now, I do like some ice cream.
Okay.
But the red velvet cakes and stuff, I might eat a slice here, but she enjoys doing that.
Right.
And people enjoy eating her stuff. Banana pudding in a jar. They'll come running for that stuff, and I'll sit over there like, okay, I might get a little bit of that tomorrow, but as long as I allow her the time to do that, because that's in her way, that's how she's relaxing.
Right. Yeah.
So I've learned to key into those little things that she does.
Yeah. Okay.
And for me, it's taken a while, and I tell folks, this man has been gardening all of our years of marriage, and I've done some. But I would say maybe here in the last 10 years, I started to like gardening. And I realized, hey, this gave me more opportunity to hang.
Yes.
And then I started realizing he started liking it. I always thought he didn't want me around gardening, but he likes it.
That's nice.
And then I pick up some of the gardening language. So when he's absent, I'm able to explain to folks exactly what's going on.
That's what I'm talking about.
And he loves that even more. And, now I'm able to, if I just sort of read his thoughts, if he says, it's time for a gardening class, I'll just go in and I'll just schedule the gardening
That's
class.
what I'm talking about.
And I said, here, this is the date for the gardening class. This is the QR code where people can register for the class.
Wow.
Just being able to put my hand in the dirt. Those are some love language for us.
Yes.
And it seems like everything may center around what I do with my nonprofit or what he does with his gardening. But we do so much in the community until it spreads out. So we pretty much do. So our love language is starting to change. Cooking something out of the garden. He loves that.
Nice.
Me sharing on social media about the garden. It's not about him, but he loves gardening.
Right.
So anytime I can just talk about it, I can feel his heart just
That's
melt.
Beautiful.
Paying attention to
Beautiful.
your spouse, right?
Beautiful.
Yeah, about
Attention.
paying attention
Paying
as well.
attention.
That's good. I mean, it's an amazing thing though, as you're involved in your marriage. You're actually putting an effort into your marriage, right? You're just not coming home and going through the 9 where you wash your dishes, you cook, yada yada yada. The day is over. Like putting the time in, because we do the same thing as you say. When it comes to even with the book, Kathy she initiated the book, right? I'm like, all right, I'll do it, because I know I have a gift in me that attracts the anointing of God in other people. Right? I know that's my calling. And if I put word to paper, somebody's going to read, and I know hopefully, prayerfully, it's going to change a life, a mindset, right? And I know for her, what she's trying to do is to present us in a good space. But I just don't want to do that. I want to present us in a God space. You know what I mean? If we're going to do it, as I said to her, if we're going to do it, we're going to go all God out. We ain't doing this on our whole merits. Like, we want to be well-known authors. We want to be in the world of books. That don't concern me. What you do for Christ last. Everything else is going to be moved. So when she did that, I watched this girl, this woman Yeah, and I'm telling y'all, she is a busybody. That girl will get off work from her 9 to 5 and go do this stuff that she does, right? We're doing with the podcast because of her.
Right.
She wants to do it. And I'm not going to leave her out there because I know my strength together with her strength
Right.
is going to make the change, not one alone, right?
Yeah.
So our love language is just like yours. We're learning each other's desires, passion, need,
Yeah.
and we're absolutely being effective to make it work and better. Because as you said, it makes us better.
For sure.
Makes us
And
better.
it also allows us to spend quality time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Together.
yeah. That's the best part.
You know,
God knows you see us on Facebook all the time.
Mhm.
I ain't listen. I go any day, anytime, anywhere with this woman because I just want to be with her, right?
Mhm.
And then when I get home, I'll be like, man, you go downstairs, I'll go upstairs.
No, he doesn't. But no, that's what
You
we
know?
do.
But you
Like,
can't-
I need my space too,
But
right?
when you say, you met me through Facebook and you asked him, and that's what drew me to you all this. It's like, I love this young couple because you were always together. You were always saying encouraging things and supporting each other.
Mhm.
And so that's why I started following you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people like that now. And the thing about it, that was never our intention.
Mm-hmm.
We were just really expressing our love,
Mhm.
you know, and the platform was never to build the platform.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We were just really expressing our love. And then God said, no, this is something I created in y'all
Mm-hmm.
to be able to pour back.
Mhm.
Now you need to take a close pay of attention to it
Right.
and make it work for the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because you see, people need this.
Yeah.
That's why I said, you know what? I want to bring people. And I remember praying one night. I said, God, I want to bring people that has substance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't want people to be at the table.
Mm-hmm.
No, because it matters where you eat,
That's right.
right? I want people at the table that can feed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Feed somebody something that's going to change the way they see marriage,
Mhm.
right? Because we're losing them left and
Oh,
right.
God.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, they get
Sorry,
in for
go
the
ahead.
reason of, okay, well, if it don't work,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you already failed.
Yeah. And I like that God will
Right.
put us in an uncomfortable position.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, because I
Mhm.
sure
Right,
tell y'all
because
this ain't
we
wasn't
don't- This
comfortable.
is not us.
What?
Mhm.
I was
I do not like
now
being
I'm a preacher.
Right.
I can do this,
Right.
right? But she was just out of her elements.
I do
Mhm.
not like being up front, in camera,
Mm.
on live. And so this was something that was
And I don't like the
definitely-
camera either because it get to show my egg head. Like, no, I want to.
It
That's
was
my
definitely, but
my kryptonite.
Yeah. you know, but it reminded me of the post I made this week, paraphrasing that, you got to get out of that comfort
Right.
zone,
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Right.
And even though it will be uncomfortable at times getting to that
Yeah.
journey,
Mm-hmm.
you got to stay focused in order to get to where you need to be. And it may be uncomfortable,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And you can't
but it
stay
is.
comfortable in an uncomfortable
That's right.
environment. So
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm glad that God put this in our spirit. I'm glad
Mhm.
that you said yes to the call, to the one of many.
Yes.
And that we can meet people like you guys, right? That you can share your story.
Yeah.
Because to your
But
point, right? There's so many marriages that are
yeah.
fail. So
Yeah.
many people they have the
Right.
give up spirit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we talk to people like you guys, you've been married to 40 plus years.
Yeah.
I can only imagine some of the ups and downs that you've been
Yeah.
through, and you still
Mhm.
hung in there because that's my friend.
Yeah.
That's my
Mhm.
partner.
Yeah.
That's my,
Yeah.
that's what you say. He's
That's
my
my
friend.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people need to hear this as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
Look at me
When
talking.
I hear you, little girl. Do your thing. Do your thing.
And it's been more ups than downs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
Way more
Yes,
And it's harder to
sir.
see it too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the first time we had a little argument.
Oh boy.
And this child was getting ready to
Give me
want to
the
quit.
divorce papers.
I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Where you going? We just had an
And
argument.
he's laughing.
Like, what
He
you
was
doing?
laughing.
Like, what are you doing? What do you mean you don't know if this gonna last? What? What are you talking about?
Like, do you know how many of this we gonna have?
What are you talking about? That was too funny. But then at that point, I think I realized how much I had grown up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I had matured. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because along this journey of marriage, there's going to be a lot of setbacks. But it's the setbacks that push you forward.
Mhm.
Because that setback strengthens you for the next one. And if you're paying attention, God is only preparing you for the next preparation
Yeah.
or problem you're going to come your way. That brings me to this then. So we're dealing with conflicts. Conflicts is good. We learn how to work through it. But most marriages fail because of financial issues, right?
Mhm.
Women love security.
Yeah.
And security comes through, men making provision, making sure them bills are paid. That woman shouldn't have to struggle. I remember when I got with Kathy, I had to tell her she was worrying about some bills and stuff. And I was like, what are you worrying for? I'm here. That's my job. You let me worry about that.
That was
At
the
the end
first
of the
thing you
day,
said.
you let me worry about that. Let me put the weight on my back because I'm going to put the weight on God. At the end of the day, I'm trusting him to make this happen.
Right.
I get it. You don't understand it yet spiritually, but for me, I know the God that I serve said he will never leave me nor forsake me. So I'm okay. It's just that we got to figure it out. How did you work through your financial, issues in life?
We had them. We had them. Early on, there was about 7 finance loan men offices in Georgetown. And I think 6 of them were in my pocket at one time. Because I was trying to be that supportive husband. If she wanted it, it was my job to get it. Not realizing that, okay, only so much is going into the pot. So we found ourselves to where, we couldn't get anything, couldn't buy anything on time. And that was something I remember Mama telling me when I told her I was getting married. She said, son, you be the man. Don't let your wife have to take care of your family.
My God.
And I always remember those words.
Sir.
And it took some real fast growing up. And we sat down and said, look, we're about to lose this house. We had just built the house. And the guy had come in from the mortgage company, sat in my dining room. She was at work. I was on shift work, so I was there to meet the guy. And he explained to me the steps he was going to take to foreclose on my mortgage.
Right.
And at that time, something came over me, and God said, tell him to leave. And I asked him to leave. I said, I understand what you're saying, but it's time for you to leave. You are not going to take my house.
Right.
And then I went to a company. There was this company in town. Black man said that he could help me. It's called debt reduction now, which didn't exist back then, but that's really what he was going to do. He was going to go to all my creditors and cut a deal to get them paid. And I went and talked to this man because everybody told me that's who I need to talk to. And here I was, broken. And he explained what he was going to do. And he wrote something on a piece of paper and shoved it across the desk. It was his bill. Now, I assumed that this man was just sincere in helping me, but this was something he was doing to get paid. And I remember walking across town. I cried a little bit. Man, that thing made me cry. For one thing, I was so mad at the fact I thought this was somebody trying to help me.
Okay.
But this guy was no better than one of the people I owed. By the time I had made it home, I knew what I needed to do. And we sat down and told him, look, we can't buy anything. Anything we buy, we're going to have to pay with cash.
Okay.
And if we got to pay cash, do we really need it?
Right.
So we went through years of paying cash. But what we were doing, we were building that discipline. Get what we need.
Right.
Pay for
it. Right.
Before we get something else.
Yeah.
And that's just how God turned that thing around for us. And she had a job at a Pizza Hut part-time.
Okay.
And the guy manager was treating her rough. And I went down there and I remember I actually got a mop and started mopping the floor just so she can get out of there. And that was the last night I told her, don't go back. You will not go back to that job. I think that was a period of time I must have had 4 jobs. I would start out I cleaned a swimming pool in the morning. I would go to work. When I left work, I would clean a swimming pool. I would go clean a building. I had so many jobs. But I had to do that. I felt that's what I needed to do to save my family. Right. And then the finance started turning around. We started realizing how to save.
Yeah.
But it was rough. It was rough. But I'd learned those things from my father, your father, watching these men. Watching them go out here. He might go to cleaners, but those guys would go to the fish market.
Right.
and had shrimp. Whatever they have to do. So we took a page out of their book, and it still works.
Yes, sir.
It still works.
And I think we went through that period because that was something that we had to go through.
Absolutely.
And I think at that time that could have made us or break us, but it brought us closer.
Yeah.
It brought us closer together. And it was several lessons learned.
Right.
Unfortunately, we never had to go back to that. And as far as things, one of the things like I like to talk to him about now, material things. Like I see a lot of young girls, they like a lot of stuff, and nothing wrong with a lot of stuff if that's what you want. And I remember saying that I always wanted a new wedding band. But then I started thinking, as we continue to grow and God brought us closer and closer, this is my original engagement. I don't know where the band is. I lost it. But I look at this and I told Tim, I said, I can get a bigger ring. Now we're in a position where he can probably get me. I said, but does that change the love?
Yes, baby. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Is having a bigger ring to show you going to change anything? Is it going to make me love him anymore than I love him already? So I keep this ring for a reason. And, I've had some comments, you need a new ring. No, I don't. I don't need a new ring because this ring has been through something. The first original.
My. I like that.
I don't think that I would
ring tells a story about your marriage. I know that's right.
This little diamond here, it may be small in your eye, but this diamond has a big place.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am. Ooh, that's a good story. That's a book right there. Diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
We got to write that book. But yeah, we had to learn that we have to be a good steward.
That's right.
Over everything God gives us, everything, our children, our finance, our properties, whatever. We have to be a good steward, and in the process of being a good steward, He elevates us to the next level. Because He can trust us with the little things. If you be faithful over a few things, I will make you mighty over the more things.
Right.
And that's what we had to learn. Even when we moved to Florida, we tackled. It was like $30,000 in bills, right? We just had, like, literally, we had stuff out there, like, we didn't even realize. We had the roof, but we had stuff out there because we would go on vacation, take the kids out of the country once a year, take them in the country once a year. We do the same thing for us alone. We were just doing things, right? We were just spending, okay? And at the end of the day, when tax come in, we had to put the tax on that. And that's not how God intended it for it to be.
Right.
We were not sowing. We were just throwing good seeds away. And He had to discipline us. And when we moved to Florida is when we really got the concept of discipline, right? How to save your money. When I started putting it on paper, and I can see the money, like, yo, how much is, we saving about $2,000 this month? What? And that thing excites you. It motivates you to want to do better and do more. So that changes us, that discipline.
But it all comes to working together, right?
Right.
That's it.
It all comes to work. If you have a wife or husband who just want to spend, and you want to save, it's unequally yoked, right? So you have to work together in order to achieve the goal that you want to achieve as well. And I'm glad that, like you said, He puts everything in the Excel, and we know what we need to pay and what we have left and what goes here and there. But it comes down to working together.
So how do y'all do it? So we've been married 18 years, right? And we've seen some hate. I'm gonna just be honest. We've seen some hate towards the marriage because people go, oh, they can't be that much in love, or they can't be that much together. You know how that go, right? How do y'all deal with that nonsense, man? Because it's new to me, but how do y'all deal with that? If it is a thing.
It is a thing. It is a thing.
Well, thank God, I ain't the only one.
And I think she probably have to deal with more of it than I do. There's not a lot of guys out here my age. Well, most of the guys, no. Most of the guys my age are not married, or they haven't been married in some time. And even if they're still in marriage, I hear that. it's almost like I'm the one they want to talk to about. The wife
Right,
ain't doing
right,
this. And
right.
see if my wife was like Denise. But I just supporting each other.
Yeah.
You know, I remember talking to a group of guys, some father program, and the guys were looking at me like, "Good God, 40 years, man! How did you do that?" I said, and they had kids. These were fathers with kids. I said, "Well, that's one reason why I did it. You know, to take care of that child." But I don't get a lot of that, you know. If now it's almost like people are amazed that we have been married so long,
for so long.
you know. But and we tell them the same thing what we share here now. You just got to be supportive of each other.
Right. All right.
Now, if you don't love each other,
It's a whole different story.
it's a whole different thing.
A whole different story.
Don't stay in there if you're not in love with each other.
Right.
But,
Yeah, that's the kind of why I call the podcast "Love in Marriage."
Yeah.
Right? You can get married but not be in love, but it's best that you be in love before you get married. Not in love, but you know who you love. You know, because being in love, you can fall out of love.
Yeah.
But do you still love the person enough to still love the person through everything?
Yeah.
Because once that height goes away, once that first kiss goes away, now
The
what? You
honeymoon
just
stage
you gonna wake up and not kiss me? Really? You that's it?
What I tell
Oh, look, you wake up and not say good morning?
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
and what I tell young ladies sometimes, I said, when we had on our wedding day and we made our vows, I said, I love him. I said, but then after about 15 years, I said, I really love this man. Then when we got to like 25, 30 years, I realized I am deeply I am deeply in love. I am deeply in love with this man. And then when we got to the 35, 40 years, I was like, this is my soulmate.
Yeah.
You know,
He just looking at her like, she's
Yeah.
baby.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
That's giving me hope.
because when you're young, you're gonna say, I love you, but there's some things you gotta go through to see how deep that
absolutely.
love.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So now that love has run so deep in our souls that I know that this is my soulmate. After 44 years, we ain't going. We ain't going away. The crazy thing now that goes in the house, it's just some crazy things going, you know. And my girls, they'll say, "Mama, you be abusing Daddy only because we say things like." I say, "No." But that's how we show love.
Right.
He'll go to a doctor's appointment and they'll say, "You got to go with him." Yeah. What else I'm going to do? I'm gonna ride with him.
That's right.
To the VA office, and then they'll say, "You answering his phone," and then he'll say, "Y'all got a problem with my wife answering my phone?" But that's because the love is so deep now. We're inseparable now.
Beautiful. Give me something to look forward. Don't answer my phone though, bro.
I'm answering that phone. Who's Pookie? So I have a question for you, because you asked them a question about how do they deal with the hate towards your marriage. How do you deal with it? Because I'm gonna tell you how I'm gonna deal with it. But I'm a Jasmine Crockett deal with it. Go ahead.
But I don't entertain it. It's disappointing, right? To think somebody think that, and especially if anybody know me, right? To think that I'm going to be a phony about something. That's something I ain't never been.
Yeah.
Maybe because maybe I chased women back in the days, you think I could not be settled to one woman. If you want to hold on to that, go ahead. See how much you grow from that.
Yeah.
Because I've outgrown that, right? I'm now attached to someone, the whole entire holistic situation that I don't ever want to be apart from, right? So if this offends you, you got to be offended then. I don't know what to tell you, right? Take it up with God. So I'm not going to entertain it.
I think a lot of people judge you from your past, right? They may know you as a womanizer or a manizer or whatever you call it, right? And that's how they see you. That's how they know you from your past. And they feel like there's no growth there. Nah, he can't be.
Not be.
He couldn't. He's not this, because I know him from when he was 10.
Right.
But now you're
Yeah.
now you're 60, and they're like, yeah, he was doing. No, that's not him. But they don't know the God in you, Jesus cousin. They don't know the God in you.
And the funny thing is, I'm just as surprised as they are, because I didn't know God had all this in me when I was in my mess, when I was doing my dirt, when I was in darkness. I didn't know the greatness that He had in for me to be a father, a husband. I didn't know that. But when I woke up and saw it, I was like, dang, I was meant to do what I'm doing. That's why it bothers me when I see people not doing it right. You feel me? So now at the end of the day, no, I'm in my element now. Whether you choose to stay where I used to be, that's your problem. Or you can come here with me and enjoy this moment, because nothing is going to make me look back, go back, or think backwards, right? So we are, you know? So when we do these podcasts, it is really for me to get young folks and people that are struggling in their marriage to see what real marriage look like, right? If, like you said, if you love the person.
If you love
that, it starts with that. If you love the person. If you don't love the person, you're going to always have problems with the person, right? Always going to have problems with the person. So, we see, where we at, baby? 3:17. Okay.
So we have maybe one more.
So, no, two more.
Two more,
So,
okay.
in this place in your life, when we can all look back in the rearview mirror, right? What are some of the important nuggets that you would give to a young couple, to a couple that hasn't been married and struggling? Just what some of the good nuggets you would give to make them fight for what they, want in their marriage?
I would say when your wife is going through, and this is my experience, when she's in the bed at night and you know what she's struggling with, and the tears are rolling, just reach over and comfort. Sometimes there are times when conversation is just not needed. Just that touch, just to hold me. If she's in the kitchen doing the dishes, but you still see the tears, or you see the sadness, get the dry cloth and go in and start doing it together. When she leaves the house and you know that her confidence is not fully there where it needs to be, catch a hold of her before she leaves and give some reassurance. And most of all, pray together.
Yes, God. Yes, God.
Just be, and the same would go for the male. Sometimes they are not as emotionally, they don't show emotions like we do, but they're human.
Yes, we are.
You know? So I'll just get up and just fix a cup of coffee, because I know that he likes coffee. Know that not that he needed, but just showing some love, and he knows why. Like I said, because all the time a conversation is not needed. Giving space. He can. The garden is his peaceful place. Sometimes I just want to ride by and just see him there. And don't say anything. But you go there and you see him working, and then he looks up and he sees you. You don't say anything. You just,
that's sexy.
Just let him be.
Yes, sexy. I had to say that.
All right, when you see me washing the car, you come
I'm
keep
gonna roll by. Hey,
just let him be at peace. Out in the yard, working in the yard. He loves outside, but you just go to let him know you got your eyes on him. Those are little nuggets. Those the small things means so much.
Yes, very true.
Don't take for granted the small
things in life.
Don't overlook those small nuggets. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't overlook. You know.
How about you, Tim? Anything you pour in?
Oh, look out for one another. I mean, just be there for each other. Like I said, for me, I show my emotions. You would hardly know something's bothering me sometimes.
Right. Same here.
But if you know that person, right, she knows when something is bothering me, even if I don't talk about it.
Right.
At that moment.
Right.
Eventually I'll come back and we'll talk about it. But that's usually God has already solved that issue with me.
Right.
Or he's already taken care of that person. And then we can talk about it so, it doesn't happen again. But those little gestures that she talked about, those they really mean a lot. And your kids will see that too. They
Yes,
will
sir.
see those little things.
Oh yes.
And,
Oh yes.
and it's good to get a call, now from them girls and say, "Well, Daddy, I thought about you today." I said, "Yeah, but you didn't pay attention to me when I was raising you." But they listened, knowing that they did hear it, and it didn't go away. So.
Right.
All that means so much,
Yeah. And kids are always watching.
Yeah.
They're always watching. Even though we used to have arguments, I would always say to Kathy, listen, let's go in the room, but we're going to have an argument. Now, there's sometimes we allow them to see a disagreement, but an argument is different. Because you don't want to create that trauma in their life saying that, this is what marriage look like. I don't want marriage, right? But it's okay to let them see disagreements, right? Because even in our disagreements, we're playful about it, right? And the kids are always like, "Oh my God, y'all play entirely too much." You know what I mean? But they have an image in their head now that you can have disagreements, but at the end of the day, that's just what it is. It's a disagreement, you know what I mean? So we've learned to pretty much navigate, through the through our system, through our life with our kids like that. And like I said, we have two different set of kids, so we had to be even more sensitive in the areas. You know what I mean? Because your kids might not like me because I attack you, or you're my kids, versa versa. Paying attention to that. Our last question. You want to answer? Ask it.
Oh no, I don't have one.
Okay, I'm gonna have to get another co-host.
Oh, sorry.
This is not working out. This is not working out.
Oh, I thought you was gonna answer last one.
No, girl. So, okay, and we're getting at a place where we're comfortable now with each other. We're enjoying life with each other. But I believe God is always saying there's more. There's more. He didn't put us here to be complacent. There's more. And for me, my more is where we are right now. My more is, I never thought I would have been back in Georgetown for any reasons. Like, nothing against Georgetown. I just knew I outgrew it and I wanted to do other things, in life. But God has a funny way of bringing things full circle. Because I'm telling y'all, this is not my dream and desire. But my more now starts to happen. Because I got comfortable in Florida. I'm like, what? This weather hot? Sweet hot. I don't have to ever worry about snow again. I ain't going nowhere. And God woke me up and said, no, but there's more. And I don't know what the more is for me altogether. But what we're doing right now is a part of our more. Right? He took us out of that comfort zone and more. What do you see in your marriage or in individual? What do you see your more being, or are you operating in your more now?
That's a good question.
There's more for me. I know there's more in store for me. I remember the prayer of Jabez.
Yes, sir.
First time I read it, I said, wait a minute now.
Yes, sir.
It ain't a whole lot here. But he asked to enlarge his territory. And
my Jesus,
I got hung up on that. What does that mean? And then I started this gardening thing. And I started meeting all these different people.
I
said, well, does that what my territory means? I've been on podcasts from Florida with brothers from Jamaica or brothers from New York talking about urban gardening. But they knew who I was before I met them.
Before you met them, right? Okay. More.
So I know there's more in store for me, and watching my wife, how she's able to just go from one thing and create something new. I know now that she's got more to do.
Yes, sir.
And because of that, I'm going to get involved in even more stuff, even at our age.
Love it.
Even at our age. And it's something you said earlier about Georgetown, and I've got lots of friends, classmates that are here, never left. And when I do run across them, being Walmart or wherever, when last time you talked to so-and-so? Oh, so-and-so changed so much. And I'm saying, yeah, but the whole world has changed.
Yeah.
And you're still
the same, right?
And you hung up because this person changed. Get away from me.
My God.
But I mean, where does that mentality come from? You know,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
stayed here
Yeah.
and your world didn't grow any longer
Absolutely.
than
Yeah.
Howard High School. Come
Absolutely.
on.
Yeah.
So knowing that, I know there's still a whole lot more in store for
That's
me.
good, man.
And I'm going to embrace it and go forward with
Yeah,
it.
that's good, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
that. I like that.
And I think for me, my more is I've always been a servant, and I'll never forget. We did something for his dad one time, and I wasn't where I needed to be spiritually then, but his dad was a minister, and I remember I never forget what his dad said. Boy, you all right. You a servant. You gonna be always be a servant. I wasn't spiritually where I needed to be. And I was looking at it and said, you daddy mean, well, I'm gonna always be a servant.
Him serving you.
Yeah. That's why and I always make him mad. I said, but he was telling me that I was always going to be a servant for God. I was going to be God's servant.
Mhm.
And once I realized that and I accepted that and I started reading God's words and understanding my mission and my purpose and what it is He has for me to do,
Right.
I am a servant.
Uh-huh.
And I love it. And the more for me, even as I try to transition out of the role that I'm currently in now, that you guys see on social media with working with kids,
Uh-huh.
I want to pray that I have done well there with helping prepare others to continue that part of the
process.
servant's
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
But it's not for me to quit and say I need to relax, I'm going to retire, because there's more.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my more is to go to the next level of
Yeah.
self-servanthood, where God would have me to be. And in going there and accepting the more, I know that we're going to be doing it together.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we're going to
Yeah.
be serving. We're going to be able to reach more as a servant of God. We're going to be able to educate more and prepare that generation to be the servant.
Right.
So that when we are no longer able to do the
Somebody's
more.
going to take over.
Yeah. So
That's
I'm
beautiful.
ready for
That is
for the
beautiful.
more.
That is
Nice.
that is beautiful. I didn't expect it to come that good, but that's truly what's an amazing thing to me. Because as I get older, I want to retire in the next 2 years, hopefully at 62. That's my desire. Now I never imagined that. God put that in my spirit, and at the end of the day, because I have like my overall finance does not say I can do it. But then God said I can.
Yeah.
So I got to trust what God is saying and not look at my situation or circumstances. So for me, I see the more coming and I'm not involved in the resource of the more.
Right.
He has the resources lined up. Like we doing this podcast thing, I wasn't expecting to do this. I had no intentions. That book, I never got up and said I want to write a book. So that more is being evolved. And I'm watching and I'm going, man, you playing with me or what?
Right.
You got, okay, we already have a home in Florida. You gave this home to us that we don't have to even put a renter in here. What are you really doing?
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing more.
That's
Now,
right.
I stopped questioning it, right? Because at the end of the day, our job is to pursue
Yeah.
as God provide. As you moving forward, God is providing and bringing you closer to your destiny. And I had to realize that no matter what, I can't change my language. I'm wanting more.
That's right.
I asked him years ago, Tim, singing that song.
Yeah.
Increase my territory. They ain't know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I was prophesying to myself.
Right.
And God is now providing me from the prophecy that I place in my own life, my own spirit with my wife.
Yeah.
He's now providing it. And I'm amazed because I'm not doing hard work.
Right.
That's right.
I'm actually doing what I love.
Yeah.
You're doing
Exactly.
what you
You know
love.
what I'm saying?
Doing what you love.
Oh,
That's
They say-
crazy,
Right.
man.
They say
I'm
be
doing
careful.
what I love.
Be careful what you ask for, right?
Yeah.
You always say, God,
Yeah.
increase my territory. And
increase
one
my
of
territory.
one of the things I've learned, and through you as well, and we always talk about this, is while you're waiting, have faith in the process.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You
That's
gotta
right.
have faith because it may not look like a promise in the end,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
but while you're walking
That
or
promise is
waiting,
coming.
or have faith, knowing that promise is coming.
Yeah.
And
It
I
is.
think that's what we've always stood on. And sometimes when he'll tell you like I'll fuss and like, but what did God say?
Right,
What they got,
right.
and sometimes you're in the mind. I don't want to know that because it doesn't look like did God leave the throne? Like
Yeah.
did God leave the earth? Is God not seeing what I'm going through right now? And He always, but what did God say?
Yeah.
That's right.
And that's the bottom line.
And yeah,
You gotta have faith. One of my biggest cheerleaders, and I am hers too, is my ex-wife. Because we started as kids, and we were trying to do the right thing for the right reason, but we
Right.
were just wrong.
Right.
But God found it a way to keep us together at some point. Like we were mad for a while,
Yeah.
but somehow or another, we were able to drop the pain past, right?
Right.
And she and I grew up, or we were establishing a household where spirituality was being taught
Right.
legitimately,
Yeah.
not church, but spirituality
Right.
from kingdom teaching, right?
Yeah.
And we look at each other's lives right now, and she's like, my ex-wife is like, man, Ty, you got one of the most beautiful, strongest wife that you could ever ask for. God has blessed you and her. Y'all are blessed. And she said to me, I know what you're doing. You're a little leery, but y'all keep pushing because God got greater for you. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like God sent her
to
encourage.
encourage.
Yeah, sorry. To encourage. Yeah, the preacher come out, right?
Yeah.
God
He's
sent you.
getting ready to come out. That's why I said, bring it down.
Bring it down.
They're not ready for it. I'm just playing.
But God sent her to remind me of the promises that He made.
Yeah.
Right? That's the beautiful thing about it. God will use a jackass.
I was just going to say
I'm
that.
not even saying what it really is, but He used a jackass to transport His word, Jesus, into the town. He used a jackass to transport His word, Christ, into town.
Right.
And yet we trying to live above our means and
That's
look like
right.
we about something. No.
And this is
I'm going to ride the jackass on this way.
And this is why you got to block off the naysayers, right?
Absolutely.
Ty, that's never going to happen, right? Kathy, no man is going to want you with 3 kids because they said that too. You got to block out the naysayers because we know who He is.
Yeah.
Right? And His promises are yes and amen, and that's what I stand for,
Mhm.
right? And block people out. Like He can tell you, I don't listen to this.
The noise.
Yeah.
The
no.
noise.
I do
Yeah,
not.
she definitely don't.
No, I don't. But I don't have the patience for it. You're not gonna get in here to tell me that's not gonna happen. You may say it, but it don't register.
Right.
Right? It goes here, it comes here. It doesn't register because I know where God has brought us from, and we look back to them and be like,
Yes.
babes,
Good Lord.
did you see this? Can you? Where we've been?
Yeah,
Did you see this? Because I didn't. But God.
Increase.
That's
Right.
I think that's something that we established at the very beginning of our marriage. We said to each other, and we vowed to it that nobody could ever come and tell me anything about him.
Yeah. Yes,
And
God.
the
Yes,
same.
God.
They
Yeah.
can't tell me anything about him anything about me. We weren't listening to it.
Right.
You know?
Mhm.
And that's the way we've lived our whole marriage.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
nobody can never keep saying, "Oh, Tim." I said, and when you sort of set that tone,
Yeah.
They're not gonna
Yeah.
test you.
Yeah.
Right. And you can't allow people from the outside to come in and disrupt this.
Yeah.
Right? They're not gonna
Yeah.
disrupt this.
No.
right, that's right. And
Because I'm a Jasmine on them babies.
that's right.
Yeah.
Because we, like I said, we set that tone at the very beginning. That's what we said to each other, and we kept that promise
That's
to
beautiful.
each other. You know, because if God wants something to be revealed, He'll show it to us. He don't need nobody else to come.
Right.
Stirring, you know, that's right.
That's beautiful.
Love it.
Setting the atmosphere is
That's
a
right.
beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's something you said, about wanting to retire. I was there too, I never had a planned date to retire. Because everybody would say, well, Tim, you know when. And I got up one Monday morning, I told her, I said, I don't feel like going to work today. The odd thing about that being that it was Monday, she knew that Monday was always my best day at work. I'm the guy that starts ironing the clothes Sunday evening, getting ready to go to work Monday. But this Monday, I didn't feel like going to work. And she said, well, you got lots of time, maybe take some time off. I said, that's not it. But then I'm going to have to go back to work.
tomorrow. Right, the next day.
So I went to work. I looked at the calendar and I spied a date 6 months later. And I circled it. I said, well, if I feel that way then we need to talk about it. the next week, I was talking to her about retirement.
Not 6 months
Not
later.
6 months. And I was just like you, okay, I hadn't had a plan together, build the finances. But because of that discipline we had set up, buying things in cash, even though we got to a point where folks were saying, come on and get it, don't worry about it. We still use that plan, but we didn't worry about the finance because with God, and I always talk to people with God and students, I always tell them, you're talking about the abundance here now. So I'm not going to worry about whether I'm going to make it financially because I know he put abundance here before he put me.
Right. Good. Ooh, that's good.
So we retired, and I'd often hear people say, if I don't retire, I'm giving money back. And I was, how what are you talking about? You get a paycheck. It ended up I was making $200 more a month than on retirement than me getting up every morning.
What? Oh my God!
Look at God!
Look at God!
My God! What?
And do something I enjoy.
Yeah. More. Got to be more.
So don't worry about the finances.
Yeah, I'm starting to really lean on that, man.
Yeah.
I'm starting because I thought about that. I was like, babes, we just bought this house now. I can't, retire. And something just shut that whole noise down and said, What I said is what I said.
That's right.
I'm not looking at your circumstances. What I said is what I said. So I said, okay, I'm going to leave it alone. Whatever you have in store, I want your more.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom line. I want your more.
Mm-hmm.
I've been prophesied 2 years ago about speaking before people in massive. I'm not telling y'all. I still don't know it, see it, understand it, and it just don't make sense to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't register. But also, like the same dreams and vision God gave Joseph, it didn't look like he could accomplish it from where he came from, where he started. And I leave it alone.
Yeah,
that's right.
I leave it alone. However you do it, you do it. So I get no glory, you get all glory.
Right.
At the end of the day, if it comes to pass, you brought it to pass.
Yeah.
I didn't make it happen. So that's my more. And I'm so in love with the more right now because I get to speak to people like y'all. Like I mean, when I got here, Kathy will tell you, when I got here that Friday, we got here that Thursday.
When we closed
This
time?
No, the last time. Thursday.
We came here Thursday, yeah.
We got here, walked in the house, everything, situated, yada yada. We did the closing the next day.
Friday, Valentine's Day.
Yeah, did the closing the next day. I'm in the house, and your name came to my spirit. I tell you no lie.
You did. You told me.
Your name came to my spirit. God said, call Denise and tell her you want her her and her husband on the podcast. And I was like, damn, I don't even know that lady like that. We see you on Facebook. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna send this text. And if I get rejected, I don't like rejection. But you gladly responded with, you said, I would love to. Let me speak to my husband and make sure everything was okay. And I was like, oh, snap, she was okay with it? Because I've asked some people and they're not sure. Well, people that are not sure is because they got some issues going on. You understand? And they don't want to be transparent. And I respect that because I don't want you to feel like I'm only coming at you the way I see you presenting yourself. So my spirit of discernment is telling me you got a good marriage going on. Now, if you falsifying that information, right, that's on you. Because everybody that has something good don't mind sharing it.
That's right.
Right? So when you said that, I was like, okay, all right. Well, of course, you had your child to deal with and whatever, and understood. But the seed was planted. And when you said yes yesterday, I was like, oh, snap, they are going to come. They're going to come.
She said, we're going to do an interview.
And I will say, every time we do this thing, it becomes better. And we meet people with much more, substance enriching. Every situation is different. Every situation is different. But the richness of the substance is great. Like your conversation ain't nothing like the other conversation we had last week, right? And the beauty of it, I get to see this thing unfold. And now I'm confident in it. Like I'm doing something I think God really called us to do.
And I like to hear other marriages, right? I love to hear their stories, especially marriages that have longevity. I like to hear like what you guys been through. And like you said, there was more ups than downs. I love it as well because again, we're hoping that what we're doing is reaching
And making an impact.
and making an
It
impact,
will.
right?
Making
It
an
will.
impact.
It will.
Reaching the people that it needs to, getting into the ear of the ones that
Yeah.
need to hear
Right.
this,
Mhm.
and even getting to the couples who might be on the verge of giving up, knowing that there is hope,
That's
Yeah.
right.
right? There's hope in God,
Bottom line.
and just hearing our stories, what you guys have been through, what
Right.
we've been through,
Yeah.
and just pouring into others as well. So
Right.
So, all right.
It
So
just looks good.
as we close out, right? I like everybody to just speak their heart. Do your best to be as transparent as you can, because I motivate people for a living. That's just that's in me. You know what I mean? And I like to pull it out of other people because it's something in you to tell somebody, right? And I'm always saying this is forever me. I want the words that come out of my mouth to land on the ears or in the ears of the person that's supposed to hear it.
Yeah.
I don't need a million people.
Right.
I'm always
Right.
only supposed to meet one person.
Yeah.
But that's what I want. My voice to meet the ears that's supposed to hear it, your voices to meet the ear. So any word of encouragement, that you give or would like to pour back into the marriages.
I would say for those that are listening, marriage is not easy. You know, it may look like everybody have the perfect marriage, and it is. It's perfect for them. So what
Yes.
my marriage looks like is not going to be the same for you. But just know that if God actually sent you that person, that is your person. Love that person. Protect that
Yes,
person.
God.
Support that person. Don't look for every day to be sunshiny and bright and good, because it's not. There's going to be some ups and downs. But trust me, through those ups and downs, there is going to be a positive outcome. And at the end of the day, just know the only person that you got is the person that God sent
Yes.
to you.
Yes.
Love that person. This man that is sitting next to me, I love him with all of my heart. I would choose him over any trips, any diamond rings, any cars, any house. And when you can get to that point where you can just accept that person for who she is, then you have a solid rock. That's what a rock is.
Yeah, boy.
Then you have
Yes, ma'am.
that solid rock. That is your gift from God.
Yeah.
Love that person. Those will be my closing words. You just love that person. Make sure it's you and that person.
Yes.
You can't have a third person. You can't have anybody else in your ear.
Right.
Telling
How to?
telling you anything. Girl, I would have done this. Girl, you
and
Yeah.
you ain't married.
That's right. Don't
Man off the one you had.
You can't. So those are my closing words.
Love it.
Love.
Every day is not going to be sunshine, but how miserable will your day be without it?
So true.
Yeah, because my day
So
will be
true.
miserable.
That's right.
So true.
Yeah.
That yes.
And that's the only thing I would add to that is I know what my life has been so far with you. I can't imagine what life I would have had without you.
Beautiful.
And, I'm glad God didn't give me a chance to experience
I
it.
know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sweetheart. And y'all, I'm telling you, with the way life is now, the things that are happening around us, I wake up in the morning and I look on and I just say, God, I thank you.
Absolutely.
Jesus. I love it.
I say, God, I thank
I love
you.
it. Yeah, I love
You know,
it.
if he's in the kitchen doing something, I just say, God, I thank you. Because I don't know. Y'all going to have to come from Florida. I don't know what my life would be like
Right.
without this man.
That's what's up.
Love.
That's
Just
awesome.
love.
That is
I
beautiful.
like it.
That is beautiful. Even listening to y'all at this stage of your marriage confess such, devotion towards each other is a beautiful thing. Because I think I know we feel the same way. We were just talking about who wants to go first, and I'm like, man, God gotta take me first. I can't do that empty bed by myself. I can't do that.
I'd be the one burning the house.
I hate to be thinking about that, but reality is what it is.
But it
I'm
is.
like, what? I leave if I go if I came to Georgetown and I'm in the hotel for 2 days by myself, I'm a miserable.
We're on
Like
FaceTime. We're on can't sleep. I got to sleep with the lights on. Yeah, no. And I like that. And I know we're getting ready to close. 40 plus years. I love that you guys say, be there for each other, right? Because I feel like when you're married for such a long time, you can become comfortable,
Yes.
complacent, right? And I like that you said, be there. He's in the garden. You just drove by and look at your prints and be like, okay, just don't say anything, just drive by, but be there as well. So I definitely appreciate you guys sharing
that honesty,
your story.
that heart,
Sharing your story as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, guys, listen, we thank y'all so much for tuning in. Absolutely, thank you. We ask that you like, share, subscribe, do whatever you can do to support this platform, because we're just really trying to pour into the lives of marriages, right? And hopefully reach the young ones before they get married, to be proactive, that make sure they go to counseling, make sure they have someone they can rely on, to have a conversation with, right? Because we have a relationship with one of our married couples that we go to when we have issues, right? If there's something that's beyond our comprehension that we don't want to let go of pride or whatever it may be, we call them up. Listen, hold us accountable. Tell us what's right, what's wrong, right? So at the end of the day, we know we want each other or want to be in each other's life with all sincerity. You go out of your way to make sure you're working on your marriage. Period. So we're going to close. But before we close, also, don't forget we have our book on sale at greenhouselove.com, www.greenhouselove.com, or you can order it on Amazon. Do your best to support us. It's a story of just overcoming, right? A beautiful story, biography of me and my wifey here, just overcoming life, overcoming our past and getting into our future and moving towards what God has planned for us.
Overcoming what they thought was going to kill us. And we're here.
But God said not so.
God said it ain't so.
And we want to thank Tim and Denise Chatman for spending their evening with us, having a wonderful conversation, blessing you, and hopefully that you're receiving it and moving down in God's way for your life and your marriage, right? And I'm going to ask my brother Tim to close us out with a prayer so we can end this today. Thank you guys so much, Brother Tim.
Eternal God, we come before you once again just to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for this day. Thank you for both couples represented here today. Thank you for being a part of our lives. And we pray, dear God, that you will continue to protect us and keep us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, guys. Have a great evening.